Hi.
That was like the fastest connected IG live I've ever had in my life.
Sweet.
I'm so
Love
happy.
that.
Oh, how are you, Puja?
I'm good. I'm in this moment, I'm good. Glad to be
Yeah.
here with you. Glad to be, yeah, having this chat. And I've been practicing today. I'm getting ready for a concert. So yeah, just been singing a lot. So I'm kind of nervous system regulated at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Does your throat feel, there's a phrase in Gujarati that my mom uses when you feel like you're using your throat too much. It's like it translates as your throat is sitting down. Like, does your
Oh.
throat feel like it's sitting down, sitting back?
Not at the moment, actually. Right now, I'm okay. Yeah, we'll see. It's always interesting, like when I'm teaching, I talk and I sing, so it's like going back and forth. Like sometimes my voice like has a hard time kind of adjusting between the two, and sometimes it doesn't. So, yeah, but feeling good at the moment.
Yeah, that's
How
exciting that you have a concert coming up and that you're feeling good. Um,
how are you?
oh, I'm sniffly because I think this is like really killing me that this happened, but I took a walk in the rain yesterday and I was
Oh,
pretty much soaked when I came home, but I knew I was taking a walk in the rain, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then like an hour later, I was like, oh no.
oh,
So it's the second day and I still feel like I'm coming down with a cold. So
oh,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's how I'm doing. Just a little heavy, like overall. Um, but I was so excited to have this conversation because it's another look into the work of basically being in your values, practicing yoga in this way, like yoga through devotion, um, and practicing yoga in a way that you're being in your values and you're also like showing up in spaces in your values, which often can be hard for people to do based on like the work that they do, or if they haven't fully integrated their values in with like their friend circle or their interests yet, or they don't feel safe doing that. And I think that was really interesting to me to have this conversation because I don't offer kirtan and bhajan, so I don't lead and guide in that way or teach in that way. And to me, this feels like a really interesting conversation for me to learn something about doing the work that we do from a very different lens. Yeah,
Love that.
yeah.
Yeah, I've actually been speaking in my classes this week about alignment and like
I'm
alignment between
sorry.
like our our words and our thoughts and our actions and our beliefs, and yeah, so it feels, I mean, something I'm often thinking about, but I've, yeah, again, been speaking about it in class this week, so it feels extra relevant right now.
Yeah, I love that because um, we planned a series. You know, started talking about this a couple months ago, and the series that we planned is called, in its like fun, pithy way, "Is Your Kirtan Connected?" And there's so many ways you can think about connection to chanting and kirtan and devotional singing and music. Um, what does it sound like for you now? What does it feel like for you when you're thinking about values and alignment? And is your kirtan connected?
Yeah. Um, I guess one of the big things that I think about often now is the nuance of it all. And I was just thinking about this earlier, and I think in a conversation like this, people are often coming to it kind of wanting some kind of answer. And one of the things I've realized, and this is, I mean, I've experienced this particularly in Kirtan, but I think this could apply in many different practices that, and actually just in many different parts of life, that everything is so individual and everything is so nuanced that it's like my answer for these questions of is my kirtan connected and are my like values aligned, like those kinds of questions, it's like my answer will be so different from some people's, and it might be kind of similar to other people's, but also like different in some ways. So I think that's the thing I think about a lot is um like like for me, the deeper I get into this practice, there's a different kind of nuance even for myself, like over time. So uh I was just thinking about like when I first started these practices, and I knew certain things just because of like cultural context and things that I just knew,
Mm,
from growing up, like just things that, like, as a South Asian, it again, maybe not for everyone, we're not a monolith, but I think for
yeah.
many South Asians, we have different experiences of kind of picking up cultural cues, cultural context, like different things that again are not really like necessarily given to us in a very direct and blatant way, like it's not like we're being told like this is a yoga practice and it's
Mm,
called this and you do it this way. It's just like, oh, like you're sick, do this breath work thing, like you're not feeling well, like drink this tea, like you know what
hmm.
I mean. It's a very
Yeah,
like natural.
would you say that when you came in, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm
Yes, okay.
like feeling that too. I'm like, would you say when you came in from the beginning there was a familiarity, and that familiarity is like your own, based on your own personal experiences and familial system, that not all South Asian people will have the same level or style or type of familiarity, but there is some kind of familiarity.
Totally. Yeah. And I think, like you said, like it varies in so many different ways for different people, where it's like, yeah, there are just there are so many different factors that kind of inform it. Um, but again, for me, like when I first started coming in, even just having like certain things of like I'm still not fluent in Hindi, but I've like my family speaks Hindi and Punjabi, so I've heard it my whole life, and like I've tried to learn, and I'm still trying to learn all the time. But like, it's not it's not a language that I can like think or dream in, you know what I
Mm.
mean? But I also like have a familiarity with it, where like I know the sounds of Hindi and Punjabi, you know what I mean? Like I again, I do speak it a little bit. So things like that, like even just like little language things, or those things all kind of gave me like a little like, I don't know, step up when I first started, where like I was starting from the beginning, but also there were certain things that I kind of that helped me understand what I was learning better. So I think that kind of thing, like I'm thinking now about like all of the things I've learned over the years and how that informs my perspective so much now of like language things that I've learned over the years, and then also like with the music itself, learning all of the different forms of music, and learning like the nuances within the different forms and kind of how they're connected and how they inform each other, and how even like within Kirtan and Bhajan, like it's so different around India, like in different regions and in different places, like people sing these devotional songs in their own languages, so it's like we hear kind of the more popular ones like mostly in Hindi. um and then of course there's like some kirtans that we hear in Sanskrit. But again, there are so many more that people are singing in all different languages, and so it's like when you start to learn, like for example, I just learned a Bengali song recently, and that's like the first time I've actually learned a full Bengali composition. And so now that's already kind of like informing other compositions that I know in other languages, and kind of like, again, kind of filling in little gaps and things. So it's like, it's, there are so many factors that make my kirtan feel connected and that make it like feel aligned. And it's something that I'm constantly having to check in with. It's like, it evolves every single day. So it's, yeah, it's, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, I appreciate that your journey is it's so interesting to learn from and to hear you talk about it. I mean, there's been years and layers of like how you have integrated this education that you're gaining, but also the way you're deepening your practice. So I just love like being in community with that and with that level of like information unfolding, but also just I mean, the way you practice is so beautiful. It's like music is definitely your life, and it comes into your life in so many different ways. So I love being inspired by that. I don't know if you know that, but I am very inspired by that. I I think what I'm like hearing from you is just like how deep your journey has been and how layered it's been and how much you've built into those layers of learning and education. And I think if we could speak to someone who's entering into the practice, like a little timid, a little bit curious, but definitely present, what would you offer them in terms of the way you would like to guide and teach?
Yeah.
And this
Um,
idea of connection like really shows up, connection and alignment. Like, how does that show up for you when you come across someone?
yeah. Um, oh gosh, it's such a good question, and I think I might answer this quite differently at different times, but just like because of what I've been thinking about, um, I was thinking about this earlier as well, that like even the word kirtan, like in the Western world, people often pronounce it kirtan.
Hmm.
So it's like it's the I often becomes a little bit longer than it's supposed to be. The R, there's kind of no roll. The T is a normal English T as opposed to a soft dental T. And then the A, which is a short A, becomes a long A. So it's like, even in this one simple word that is the name of the practice, it's so misappropriated. And it's like, I understand it's not. I think one other thing I want to mention in this is like I really don't want to like I'm not trying to put anyone down like in any of this, you know. And I think that's a big thing in trying to kind of like parse out the the kind of I don't know, the uninformed stuff and the ignorant stuff from the the combination of both like heart, like bhakti, but also jnana, like some kind of knowledge, some kind of wisdom that you've attained from some kind of experience. Um, like because again, it the practice of kirtan is a practice of bhakti. It's a practice of the heart. So it's like if you're coming to it with a genuine open heart and an open mind and you're willing to learn and you're curious and you're really trying to express something that you're feeling, like I think that's a really good starting point. I think that's really important. And with that, I think sometimes that gets um separated from like the other parts of the work that are also really important. Like one thing that I've heard quite a few people say, and actually I've said this in kirtans too, that like the pronunciation isn't so important if you're, you know, singing from the heart. And like again, to some extent that is true. Like it again, these are devotional songs that are often sung in many different languages that are like people's own languages. You know, they sing in the languages that they know, and so in a way, like pronunciation isn't the most important thing if you're really coming from your heart. However, if you're trying to sing a song in a language that you don't know, I think it's kind of important to like try and learn how that language is spoken, you know. So again, coming back to the name of the practice, kirtan, um, like just learning, for example, like the A, kirtan versus kirtan, and the T, the dental T. These like two little things like even just starting to learn these really kind of like basic pronunciation things, I think that can make like a huge world of difference in a way. Because again, it's not just about like saying it correctly, but it's about like what that means in the context of the fact that we're doing a practice that comes from South Asia, that people spent literally their lives devoted to developing and sharing and teaching these practices and learning these practices. And so I think it's just like, yeah, it's a combination of many many little things, but I think those are like a couple of the things that come to mind like in the beginning, that it does take some amount of effort. Like you absolutely have to have the heart. If you don't have the heart, like it's just not gonna, you're probably not even gonna be attracted to it if you don't have the heart anyways.
Mm.
But
Hmm.
once you've
Hmm.
got the heart, I think there's like some effort that needs to be put in.
Yeah, I know it shows up in the way that you kind of learn anything. If anyone would think about something they dove into, like as a skill or a hobby, that became something more mainstay in their life, like you don't stay at a surface level interest in it. You learn deeper, you get more complex. Like if it's physical, you learn more physically demanding moves or complicated moves, or you follow instructions a certain way. So your ability to learn changes as well, like your capacity for the information in front of you grows with when your familiarity grows. And I just think it's important to remember that, because that's something people do all the time when they learn new skills and when they take on new interests. It's this is no different. And so when I see um, yoga, meditation, kirtan, pranayama being used topically as just like something very casual that you do, but consistently, I question that, because that's treating it separate and apart from the way that mostly everyone knows how to dive into the things that they're interested in. And so when there's a separateness from like how you are already engaging with your interests, I really wonder about that. And that's the critical conversation that I tend to like focus in on. Why is there a gap? Why is there a difference in treatment? And what are we missing when we're not noticing that right away, or even down the road? What are we missing when we deny that, when someone is like guiding us towards that realization? So I totally hear what you're saying about how people like could respectfully engage, right? That's so it's so good to hear your point of view on that. Do you have any story where like you were just completely shocked, or you had to like face something that you didn't know you had set an expectation for, and you were like, whoa, I've been like I'm completely shocked by what I'm learning right now, or by what's happening in this arena. Do you have any stories like that from all of your practices and trainings and
um that one, I don't know if I have like a particular story. I think it's like, again, it's kind of like a lot of little moments. Like actually in the past, sometime in the past year, I really started to notice that I was able to do certain things with my voice. This is more actually like kind of talking a little bit more about my classical training, which is like really it informs my kirtan a lot. But it isn't like necessary to kirtan. It's just kind of like something that's particular to me, um, to my practice. But it to start to notice like the changes in my voice after years of practice, where it's like a very subtle thing, and it that like kind of blows my mind, because it really illustrates the kind of power of like a guru shishya parampara, like a student disciple relationship and tradition. And I there's definitely a lot of terrible stuff in this kind of learning, and just the way that it's been done in the past. So it's
yeah,
like I
just to clarify, we're talking about when you have like a teacher that you consider a guru that is shining light on practices that you didn't really know existed, but also the part of that to be watchful for is when we talk about giving up our power as a student in that guru shishya relationship. And parampara is where we're talking about lineage or like a practice holder that has a lot of information. And so there is a lot to gain in having a strong relationship like that, but it's meant to be reciprocal. Like, I don't know if historically it was always meant to be reciprocal, but I think with what we know now about power dynamics and how we want to engage, like a student always has something to share and offer this, and a teacher will always have something to share and offer. So I think that's a really important note you just made too.
It's thank you for clarifying all that. It's again, all of these little like parts of the context are so important. Um, and again, in music in particular, like the Guru Shishya Parampara is very much a one-on-one thing. So it's like the way that I've been guided over the years, and like there are moments where I'm kind of like, why am I doing the same thing over and over? Like, why am I doing this particular exercise? I don't really get it. And like a lot of the times, these more traditional teachers, they're not explaining things, you know, they're literally just like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And it's again, there's a very I think there's quite a fine line between like doing that as a student like mindlessly and not questioning it, not like, you know, not again, not having like a mutuality in the relationship, not having a kind of mutual respect and understanding that it's a two-way thing, when it just becomes like a subservient, okay, I'll do everything you tell me to do, versus like a, okay, I understand that you're guiding me along a process that you understand more, and so you have insight that I don't. So it's like to be able to trust that process and then get to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, now I actually see that work paying off. And it's it really it I don't know, it deepens my bhakti in a way, because it's like I don't know, there's just a deeper connection to the music now, where it it's not a path that everyone would take or that everyone needs to take in order to kind of get there. Like, especially again, talking about bhakti, like technique is not really like that important in bhakti. It's not a big part of it necessarily or inherently. However, like if you combine technique and bhakti, it, you know, again, is a kind of like different pathway that
Sure.
allows you to experience different things. And so, yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that that stands out to you. And just in the last year, because this is not a new journey for you, it's just remarkable how we uncover things along the way, no matter when. Um, this is awesome. I know this conversation is just meant to be a shorter conversation around a longer conversation, like of a longer conversation that we're having in a couple days, similar fashion, just chopping it up. And we're inviting like anybody who wants to come in and join the conversation and really like be a part of that roundtable to do that with us for our community hour. It's on Thursday in just a couple days. And we'll talk about, is your Kirtan connected, a little bit more about your journey and some of the highlights, and then also um, what your guidance is for students who are really seeking a more connected way to practice, like a devotional, one of the more devotionally focused elements of a yoga practice. So I'm excited about that. Maybe we'll fit in a little bit of chanting, like a very small slok or very short slok or something. That would be cool. But yeah, is there anything you want to share with folks to get them ready for Thursday?
um just come, yeah, just come with an open heart and an open mind. I love connecting with people through this practice. And that's one of the things about bhakti, is it really is something that is meant to be accessible to everyone. It's not it's yeah, it's just it's meant to be accessible to everyone. And so I really hope that like anyone who feels drawn to it in any way, like if you're curious at all, please come check this out, come talk with us and sing with us for a few minutes. And yeah, I think it'll be, yeah, just like really fun. And I also
Yeah.
just want to say thank you so much to you, Tejal. I mean, I've learned so much from you, and continue to learn so much from you, and you're just um, yeah, just such a wonderful teacher and leader and thinker and like creative and yeah, just so many things. So I'm just so grateful to get to do this with you.
I appreciate that, but I appreciate you even more. So everyone, please come join us on Thursday, and then following that on Sunday will be a Kirtan. So we're going to kind of lead it from conversation to conversation, a little bit of practice into full practice. So I'm really excited for Thursday and Sunday. Yeah.
You too.
Okay. Well, I hope you enjoy practicing for the concert that you're also doing and all the other practices you hold on your platform. So rest up, hydrate well, and then we'll talk again soon.
Awesome. You too, Tejal. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Take
Bye.
care.